All right, let's talk about Will Anderson. You know, the Texans had two very hyped up rookie players I was very interested in watching in this game. And while a lot's getting made about CJ Stroud, and I've already made a video on his performance, I thought kind of underratedly, Will Anderson had a pretty good performance here in a small sample size. Again, we didn't get to see these guys for too much. You're not going to get to see these guys for too much in the preseason, especially the first preseason game. But still, we saw some of Will Anderson, and I thought he showed some flashes of being the guy that we know he can be. So first, let's start off with this play, which is kind of a perfect Will Anderson play, and why those who absolutely fell in love with him in the draft process fell in love with him. It's a running play, and it's not even going to be a play that he's going to have a huge impact in, but I just like this play from him. Again, I tend to not necessarily look at just pure results, but I look at just, what have you done? To me, a pressure in 2.5 seconds is more impressive than a sack in 5 seconds, right? But anyways, what's going to happen on this play is it's a running play. He's going to be going up one-on-one against the right tackle. So typically, given the fact that it's going to be a run towards the offense's left, you wouldn't think there'd be it'd be worth even almost looking at with Anderson here. However, when this play begins, tackle does go and try to, set that edge, make sure that he cannot get over towards the inside. But I think Anderson just does a great job of fighting through it. And the reality is, a lot of edge rushers kind of just say, okay, you know what, let's just hang out here, and if it, the ball carrier goes in my direction, I'll reach out and make a play. Anderson is showing his motor, which, I think this is a huge part of what people love about Will Anderson, is he's not just a guy who, I think the knock on Will Anderson is he didn't quite have the analytics that an Aiden Hutchinson from 2 years ago had. They didn't quite have the athleticism that Trayvon Walker from 2 years ago had. But he's very good at both of those things, and he has the intangibles, and that's why that's part of what just makes him such a fascinating prospect. Because again, watch him just keep fighting, and he again doesn't really make an impact on that play. That wasn't really something he had a hand in. He didn't stop the run or anything, but he does that enough times that eventually there will be a point when he has an impact in the play. That's just how you have to assume it will go. Also, something like this, where what's going to happen here is you see where he is on the screen. It's once again going to be the right tackle who is blocking him. There is a tight end who's lined up in that area, which is going to give him a little bit of a trouble right away. He's not chipping or anything, but just going to add a little bit of extra chaos when this play begins. Look, as you see, there's that little bit of contact, but then watch him again fight through that tackle very quickly gets around him. I don't know if the tackle just wasn't expecting him to move that fast, but here is I guess, maybe the critique you could have is that he gets around pretty effectively, but in college, this is just an opportunity to get a sack. That's what you can do. At the NFL level, guys are just a lot stronger, and what the tackle is going to try and do here is push Anderson behind Bailey Zappi, the quarterback on this play. And he is going to effectively do that. So again, if the play lasted for long enough, Anderson could have got there, but plays don't last for 5 seconds in the NFL. You got to get there quicker. And so, while I wouldn't consider that a bad play, certainly it was not the great play and a sack or even a pressure that you probably would have thought it could have been when that play started. And he is going to have to kind of learn how to, once he gets around towards the edge there, still get a pressure and still get a sack. The plays don't end once you get around the edge like they do in college. They're still going on. Guys can push you. And he's going to have to figure out maybe some ways to maximize his impact on certain plays. This play I thought was very fascinating, where what's going to happen is, this play, when you first watch it, kind of at first glance, you might think it's a bit more impressive than it actually is, just because it's a heavy blitz by Houston. So he's going to get put in a good position to start. Watch how the tackle who, the way blocking works is you block from the inside out. That's how you do it. So closest towards the center to furthest away towards the center. So on a heavy blitz like this, oftentimes edge rushers get a little bit of a benefit here. Now, that tackle is eventually going to get over and try to block Will Anderson, but I think Will Anderson has done a good job of, just putting him in position where the tackle now has to get off the block he's currently on to try and block him. And he's just in good position already to where it might not even matter if the tackle gets off and blocks Anderson. Now, as you see, it does, matter. The tackle does get off. He blocks Anderson. Anderson does not get the sack on that play, but he still, I think, showed some flashes and helped, do his part in that, resulting in a sack. Although, again, maybe you would have liked to see him, once he was in that good spot, be able to finish it off and get the sack. You could argue that, I suppose, but I don't think I would. I think it was a good play by Anderson. This play was probably my favorite. This was probably this was the closest I think he had to a sack in this game, where it's going to be a stunt on this play, also known as a twist, whatever you want to call it, where the interior defensive lineman moves towards the inside to get the guard to sort of go in that direction, and then Anderson kind of swings around, goes in between the guard and the center. Hopefully the center is blocking on the other side, and you could have a straight shot towards the quarterback. Doesn't always work, but when it does work, it works very well. So watch how when this play begins, New England doesn't do a terrible job here. The guard does realize this. He sticks his arm out and is going to try and create some contact to try and slow Anderson down. He'll be able to slow him down somewhat for sure. The question is just how much, and again, talking about maximizing the impact on this play, can Anderson maximize the impact? Well, as you see, yes, he can, and Zappe ends up making actually a really good throw on that play, but Anderson did a good job of creating that pressure, and if there wasn't something open down the field, he probably gets a sack on that play. Everyone talks about pressure and and coverage kind of as if a good pass rush helps out the secondary, but never the other way around. Well, no, a good secondary can also help out the pass rush, and if you can start making some plays back there, that could also result in him getting more sacks and things of that nature. So yeah, as a whole, hey, at least one of the Texans' major prospects had a promising performance. And again, if you didn't watch my Stroud video, I'm not overly concerned about that either. But again, all you hope here is to see players show some things, show some flashes of what you feel like they can do, what their potential can be. Just show those flashes, and I think that's what we saw from from Will Anderson in this game, and why I was definitely impressed with him and thought that he did some things. Again, didn't get on the stat sheet, but, if you've been following this channel, I don't care if you don't get on the stat sheet. I think box score stats are highly misleading. Big fan of analytics, but, the box score stats, don't care too much about that, so I'm not overly concerned. I would have liked to see him play more. I don't know why the Texans didn't have their starters play too much more. I'm assuming later on in the preseason they'll get more playing time. I'm always a fan of letting young players, especially if you're a rebuilding team, letting your young players get as NFL ready as possible early on. But, either way, I liked his performance. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.